You wake up at Gerald's place because you've been staying at Gerald's place pretty much every single time. You were staying at Gerald's place because you wanted to make sure that you had, a place to stay, and you didn't want to run into past no in the stuff. So last time, Gerald's plan was essentially to just set up a dead man switch with Christopher, and then hook that up to an actual, fertilizer bomb, and just blow that up. Just blow up the entire motel, which is where he is. Gerald is up at his computer as usual. He's just poking around on Facebook, doing his thing. You can hear the coffee pot kind of doing that gurgle sound that it does, as it usually does. What do you guys want to do right off the bat? Ask Kevin if he has any books on local lore or legends to see if you can find. I believe you guys already got that the first loop through. You hug Gerald and you go, "Good morning, Funkmaster," or Funkmaster J, a funky fresh morning. Excuse me. You wish him a funky fresh morning. And say, "Hey, I've been thinking, are you sure that this isn't going to create a time paradox? Do you want pizza? And is there a way we could maybe trap the sewer bastard back in time, 3 seconds, using the dead man switch thing, thing that you guys said? And we should go ask Kevin if he's got any books on this thing I already have a book on." Gerald, turns around and goes, "Oh, good morning. No, you sleep okay? I'm not sure if magic could do all the things you were just trying to get. Do you need coffee? We should probably wait on the pizza. I don't think I can handle pizza this early in the morning. We could ask Kevin about that, but if you already have that book, I'm not sure why you want it, but okay. I don't think we can use magic in that specific way. I'm not entirely sure if we're able to manipulate time too much using magic because of the regulations that were put in place years ago in order to prevent people from doing bad things, basically from preventing people from going back, and messing around in time is just generally a bad idea, which is why it's all very scary to be doing what we're doing. The magic put in place decades and decades ago to prevent mass destruction with magic would limit time manipulation because of all of the problems that it could make. I don't think we can plant multiple bombs at different points in time, unless if you mean have them go off at different times, but I don't know how we could tell magic to set that up in advance. We're basically just hoping that the creature is there when Christopher is taken. He says that, not seeming super happy about that. I know you're not happy about this plan, no. And I'm not either. And I'm not even sure this will work, as I said, but I've kind of run out of ideas. We could delay it, but if we delay it, then Christopher will be gone, and he'll have died for nothing, and someone else would have left. As an aside, I believe your bad soup. Have you ever had a Slurpee? Have you ever, gotten to, the last, fourth of it, or eighth of it, and you just, it's too much Slurpee, but, there's no flavor really left. It's just kind of mush, and it's just liquid, and then it, warms up, and then it's just, watered down soda, and it kind of sucks. That's happened, but also you've put milk in it, so not only has the milk, kind of gone off, but it's also coagulated. If you've ever mixed a acid and a base together, it's curdled. I'm going to go out on a limb and just let you know right now that if you want to lose wellness points, that would be a way of doing it. I think drinking the bad soup is prohibitively bad for your health. You should not do that. You go, "Hey, give me a minute." And then you go take a shit, and then you come back, and you go, "Okay, I'm done now." You probably wash your hands. I don't actually know. Taking a shit is a free action. There you go. You've done it. Of course we wash. Okay, chat seems to think that they definitely wash hands. Okay, cool. You ask Gerald then, if he thinks the bastard is fucking with time, and if Kevin might know more about time. And in what ways can time be used with magic, and do you think there's a way to trap the bastard instead of killing it, oh Master Funk? He says,
well, right now it's fairly unclear on exactly how it's getting around and doing what it's doing. It's clear that it's not fully within our ability to comprehend. It seems like it's honestly kind of hard for us to have a good idea on how it exists. We've never seen it directly outside of the one time you saw it, and you only were able to see it through the mirror. It may just be acting on a different... I don't know. We have no way of knowing whether or not it's messing with time or not. It could just be something that exists outside of physical space in a certain way. We don't know. My hope is that, in the very least, when the explosion goes off, it will have to be within range of Christopher, who does exist on this plane. And whether or not it'll kill it, or just hurt it, or just be there, I don't know. I don't even know if it's just invisible. Worst case scenario, it exists on a different plane than us, in which case then we just hope that it is in our plane of existence for long enough that it gets killed, or at least wounded.
in what ways can we use magic, and do you think there's a way to trap the bastard instead of killing it?
Well, that's the problem, because I don't know how it works. I don't know how to stop it. I'm just hoping that by doing this, it'll be a way of stopping it. If it does exist outside of time or space, then it could very easily leave directly after doing whatever it does. It could leave the same way it comes in. If we blow it up, then we have a decent shot at it. But I'll be honest with you, we're really out of my depth. This is not something that we traditionally teach. It's sort of a basics of magic to just understand that you're not supposed to mess around with time. And to what you were saying about meeting your past self, I don't think that's a particularly good idea. I think that's entirely possible that it would be a bad idea. But I can't stop you. Everything I've ever learned about time is... it's a bad idea. But...
Hey, Funkmaster J, maybe we should ask Kevin about this, like, nerd crap, because he seems like he would know what he's talking about. Also, what if we added mirrors to the explosion? I mean, like, it would, maybe if it just exists in mirrors, then we'll definitely get it, right? And, you know, I don't know, just increase their chances, and that's what we're about. Is there, but, is there a way we could just bind something to this dimension just directly? And, could we gain access to the mirror world that I was talking about? And then you go, what's your last name, Funkmaster J? Says,
well, it's Franklin, but, to answer your other questions, I think we should ask, it sounds reasonable to ask Kevin. He knows a great deal about these things. I could go buy some mirrors and bring them by, the motel. We could just set them outside, and I'll need some help setting up the bomb. If we can, set the bomb up in, perhaps your apartment or your motel room, that might work.
Is there a spell that can bind something to our dimension?
I'm going to be honest with you, no. This is the kind of magic that I didn't specialize in and didn't really, look into it. So, I don't know. The only reason I recommend your motel room is because it's reasonable to assume that you won't be there. It depends on what you decided to do during your day, but assuming that you're not at your motel room, it wouldn't be odd for you to go into your motel room or for you to invite people to your motel room. The bomb I've constructed, should blow up the entire building, which should do the job. I'm gonna go ahead and go down to Home Depot and see if I can get some mirrors. That seems like a good plan to me. We should meet back up at the library. If you're gonna go talk to Kevin, I'll go meet you there. Do you have any other plans for today? Before, this all happens?
You decide to ask Gerald, what kind of magic do you specialize in? And you already said you were going to read your book in a previous response and get some forget-me-nots from Noah and Raymond. You also decide to ask him if, by using the power of horticulture, we can get the gazebo to aid us in our quest. Gerald looks at you blankly and ignores this response entirely and decides to answer your other things that you said. And he says,
well, my degree was mostly in theoretical magic. It's mostly for research and for figuring out what magic can and can't do. Practical magic hasn't been something I've spent a whole great deal of time on, but I do dabble in magic. It's part of the job, after all.
Ask him if he has if he knows anyone who has connections to the creature or the cult.
Well, I mean, we don't know what connection the creature has to anything, but you definitely have connections with the cult. Both of us are in it now, though we both know how that turns out in the end. I'm gonna go ahead and go down to Home Depot now and buy some mirrors. It should help us in our attempt to stop this creature by bombing the motel. I'm going to go now. I'll meet you at the library later.
And with that, Gerald heads out for the day. You decide to spend a little bit of time reading your lore book, and you spend a little bit of time writing goodbye letters to everyone except for Roger, because fuck that guy. He's an asshole. Reading over the lore book doesn't get you any new information that you didn't have before. Most of the town stuff has to do with like coal and oil and that kind of crap that you kind of already knew about. Nothing extremely useful to figuring out this mystery. I believe I said sulfur as well, yes. You scan the room with the mirror and don't find anything out of the ordinary. It continues to just be a room. If you see a dog, you're going to go out of your way to pet it. It only got like 7% of the vote, but I have a feeling that like this is a thing that you guys would be 100% about if it was just a thing that happened on the way. So, despite the fact that it didn't get nearly enough votes to be valid, I'm going to say that that happens if you see a dog. So, keeping a sharp eye out for a dog, you decide to start walking towards the town center so that you can go and see Raymond to see if he's at work. You walk on over to Starbucks. It's not very far from the hotel, so the chances of seeing a dog were fairly low, and unfortunately, you didn't see one. I'm sorry. It seems like the nail salon is open, so you go inside to go ahead and talk to Raymond. As we passed by the bank, was there any caution tape around it? Yes. There was caution tape around the bank this morning. A little bit of a commotion has been started, but people are still trying to get up and go out the door for their work, so. You go into the nail salon, and Raymond looks over to see that you're there.
Oh, hello now. Good morning.
How are you doing? Aren't you disguised? It's true, you normally do walk around in disguise. You walk into the room while he's greeting you, and you just spin around with a mirror for a second. So you walk in the room, do a little mirror spin. You hand him the letter that you wrote, just the goodbye letter, and you go, "You would not believe this shit, my guy. I need your help, because there's some real-ass shit going down." And then you spend the next, like, little bit explaining everything that's going on in this town and what you've been doing and what has happened so far and the whole time fucky thing that's happening. And tell him that he looks great and we should get our nails done. So you sit down to get your nails done while you explain all this. He dutifully nods his head and goes, "Oh, that does sound like a lot." You continue to go ahead and get your nails done while explaining that you're currently in the process of planning to commit an act of terrorism. He goes, "Oh, no, I didn't think you had it in you."
It's very dangerous, you know that? Someone could get hurt. A lot of people could get hurt.
You show him the notebook, and he looks over it while he continues to do your nails. You say, I want a disgusting amount of glitter. I mean, just fucking go nuts, my dude. And 2 trucks having sex and explosion colors. Just do it. Just make it having a day. I need to just have some. This is self-care at this point. If it were anyone else other than you, I think he might have questioned any of these decisions. But being that it's you and he's gotten to know you pretty well in the last couple of week, I guess. It's been like 3 or 4 days his time. He doesn't bat a single eye at this. Well, I do have to say it does seem like one of the only reasonable acts to take here. I mean, after all, what if someone got hurt? Don't show him the Noah page. Okay, you don't show him the Noah page. Anyway, while he's doing your nails and you're explaining to him all of the stuff that's going on, and he's cleaning off your nails from the past time, because it's not been too long since the last time you got nails done. He says, No, you do understand, well, what you're saying is incredibly reasonable. It is incredibly dangerous. I would have half a mind to report you. I'm sure Roger would love to hear about this. I heard the bank got robbed. Yes, but we have no choice, you say. And you ask, are you familiar with this creature? Me? No, never heard of it, but I'm sure you wouldn't. A nice person like you wouldn't do something like that. It's a lot, don't you think? You'd have to have a good reason. You ask Raymond if he has any better ideas. Or if he has a better solution, or know someone who could possibly come up with a better solution. And then just generally fuck the police. Somehow that has something to do with Raymond. And you ask him if he wants in. Like, do you have any better ideas, and do you want in? He says, I'm not really sure what I could do to help you with this situation. It seems like it's wrapping up just nicely. I don't really particularly have any ideas, but I support this. Raymond, the thing's killed like 4 people. Why do you support me in this plan to stop it? Also, thank you for the support, you say, as he finishes and instructs you to stay still so that way you can let your nails dry. Well, I have no other ideas on what to do. It seems difficult. Seems like there's no real good answer here. And when there's not a good answer, a bad one will do. I don't know any of these people that you said that it's killed, but if what you're saying is right, then I wouldn't. You did read your lore book on creatures. It didn't give you anything useful. It's mostly really boring stuff about, like, coal mines and sulfur mines. You thank him for his support. He says, if you can think of anything I could do to help, then you just let me know. I think moral support is all you really need. It sounds like you've got an excellent plan. An incredible plan. Raymond, can you trust us that something is going on? No. I have never met someone quite like you. I would assume that you were telling me the truth, because you don't seem like the type to lie. Seriously, Ray, level with me. What's your motive? If what you're saying is true, which I believe it is, it seems like a reasonable thing to do. Is it the best plan? Probably not. Is it the only plan that we can think of? Probably. I haven't seen whatever this creature is you're talking about. Your nails have dried reasonably that you can actually, like, use your hands again. Can we use the mirror to see if we're cute? Sure. You bust out the mirror and look at yourself. You're cute. You're as cute as you've always been. Which is cute in the sort of way that you sometimes see like a stray dog, and like it's kind of like roughed up, and it's got like a couple, it's kind of muddy, and it's got some like cuts or whatever, but you know what? It's kind of cute. You just got like cute dogs on the mind today, so you're thinking about that. Despite everything, you're still cute. You like yourself. Call it a rustic aesthetic, sure. You decide to tip him. You give him, you tell him, you're the flyest dude in town, with I assume would be finger guns. I've got 2 wizards half backing me up and whatever the Home Depot god is. If this plan goes south, can we count on your help going forward? I have a feeling that Roger is going to be very busy dealing with the bank today. And if that's the case, then I expect, as long as you keep that in mind, you won't see any interference. I'll keep an eye on him from here for you. You compliment him on his handiwork, and he nods and thanks him. So you guys decide to tip $69.69. So you spend $99.69 in total on getting your nails did. You wave him goodbye and blow him a kiss, and you walk out as cool as a cool dude that you are does. And you walk out the door. There's still a bit of commotion going on down at the bank, but you see Gerald on his way over to the library. What's our reputation? In general, it's going up. Nice. So you head on over to the library and head on inside. It takes you a minute, but you go ahead and find the 2 amigos, your 2 friends, Gerald and Kevin, once I find him on the sheet. Where is he? Here they are. You didn't see any dogs on the way. I've been on the look. You have been hardcore on the lookout for dogs. Whether or not this is some sort of weird like mental break, or if this is just the way you are, you've started looking around for dogs. The library seems to be empty outside of just these 2. We've been having a breakdown. Yes, you have been. You are getting to the point of the day where you will need to start making the plan come together. Gerald looks frazzled. He's been carrying mirrors, you expect. Complimenting Kevin's bow tie should be a free action. I agree. You compliment Kevin's bow tie. He quietly whispers thanks and just sort of like averts his eyes towards you. Hey, your bow tie looks great. Anyway, about space-time, what do you think will happen if I come in contact with past me? Like, would it cause an explosion that would kill Murder Bird? Or, like, without killing the rest of the town? Or fuck it, just kill Murder Bird? Also, show off your new nails is pretty, like, low on the list. I'm sorry. You're gonna just have to hope that everyone notices. Kevin decides to field this one because Gerald doesn't know anything more about time travel stuff than what y'all know. He says, well, it seems like it could be very possible that something would happen, but I think it's unlikely based on what we know about time travel and what we know about just generally how time and space works. The prominent theory with time is that there are multiple. It's sort of like, think about space as a 3-dimensional object that has multiple different. If you think about time as a straight line, in all the movies and comics and stuff that talk about time, they're always talking about time as something that can be connected through lines, but it's not. It's every single moment creates a different possible timeline. The amount of potatoes that you get one day at school cafeteria, the idea that maybe that I don't know, a butterfly doesn't fly by your path, or maybe flies slightly to the left by a millimeter, is enough to change a different time of timeline entirely. We exist within a series of timelines. We aren't even entirely sure that you're in the same timeline that you originally came from. No just shouts, Homestuck? Is it like Homestuck? Kevin kind of just looks at you for a minute and goes, I have no idea what you're talking about. In short, Kevin explains, no, I don't think meeting you would cause an explosion, but we don't know what it would cause, and I don't really know as if right now when we have these problems that we're having, if it would be the wisest decision. Coming in contact with past node could cause an explosion that would kill Murderbird without killing the rest of town.
Well, the explosion that I've set up is going to be big enough to destroy probably just the motel. I did some research to make sure that the explosion would be good. As long as everyone is at least on the other side of the river, they should be fine. I think we should probably hold up over by the Ford dealership. It should be far enough away that we can experience the explosion, but not be in the blast radius. I'll be honest with you, no, I've never made a bomb before, and I just read some stuff online, and I'm doing my best with this.
You can't be the other no. You can only be yourself. And for that, you have to make whoever that is the best possible person you can. You can always be afraid and scared and annoyed and sad that you didn't get to meet the person that you were in a different time, in a different age, if you weren't the person you were then and you could have been someone else. Unfortunately, despite everything, you are you. And sometimes that's okay. You, however, eat the bad soup, which is probably not the best. I'm going to just throw it out on a limb that's probably not the best person you could be. But maybe for no it is. I don't know. It's an entire possibility that Kevin would like Homestuck. I don't know as if now, right as you're about to, like, right now when you're discussing whether or not you should blow up and how the best way to blow up a motel is the best time to tell someone about Homestuck. I feel like there's a time and a place to talk about Homestuck. Now, I'm going to just go out on a limb and say that it probably isn't, but that's for you guys to decide. You check the mirror, you don't see any blood. What's the closest building to the bridge? Let me see if I've still got the map screen. You're currently at the library. It's right next to the 7-Eleven across the street from the apartment complex, and kind of next to the dollar store. As far as what's nearby, like what that building right next to the motel is, there's the river, which is that kind of white and pink area that's like at the bottom of the town there, and that divides town away from the motel and the Ford dealership. So the Ford dealership is the closest building that you could probably be standing at. Mirror check the map. The map is more of a conceptual idea in your head. You can't mirror check the ideas in your head. If you could, they would have no blood on them. You decide to tell Gerald and Kevin that because it only shows up in mirrors, you think the bird needs to be reflected in the mirror to work.
Well, that's why I went around and got mirrors today. I've put a few in your room and the motel. I've brought a few with me if you have some more recommendations, but I've put them out in the parking lot and just sort of in the journal area of the motel. It's a bit obvious, and hopefully no one goes to investigate. I think whatever's going on at the bank is going to cause enough of a problem that no one will check in on that. This is a small town, and something as exciting as the bank should be enough of a distraction that everyone should stay on that side of the river. I think the only plans that we have left is we need to set up the bomb and go check on Christopher. Make sure that he actually is in the motel. This plan largely has to deal with him being there. I saw him when I was there setting up the mirrors, but we still need to move the bomb into position. Hopefully, the spells that we've worked out together should keep the bomb contained to just the area of the motel.
Generally speaking, magic won't prevent you from protecting things from harm. So having a shield that just contains the explosion to the inside of the motel should be possible. But extending its radius is going to be difficult to pull off with magic because it doesn't really like to do that. So the motel will be completely leveled by this action, but hopefully just the motel. If everything that Kevin and Gerald has set up is set up correctly. Suggest evacuating the motel.
Well, I still need to move the bomb into position. If you want to go check and see if Christopher is in the front office and ask him if anyone else is staying there, that would be a good way for us to make sure that we do this correctly. We don't know exactly when Christopher is doing this, though, or when Christopher goes missing, so we need to make sure that we need to hurry.
Can we call him? Call Christopher? Yeah, I guess that would work. That would be easy. You could just straight up call. You could straight up call. You don't actually have, that's a much better plan, actually, just calling the guy. Because if you call the motel and he picks up, then he's there. So, yeah, chat seems pretty in on that plan. Kevin or Gerald should call. Can Kevin hold a phone? Yeah, he's got hands. He's got arms. He's got several of them. They're kind of hard to see because he's all fuzzy. So it looks like chat is pretty well decided that you want Gerald to do the call. And so you go, Gerald, how about you just call and see if he's there? If he's at the front office, just ask him if he has any rooms open.
Well, that's an incredibly good idea. Based on how many doors there are outside the motel, we can guess that there's somewhere in the district of about 10 rooms. You're staying in one of them, but you're out right now, so, if we called and asked how many rooms were available for, I don't know, conference or something, then, that might allow us to know how many people are staying there. If he says any number really less than 9, then we're probably okay. As long as he doesn't say less than 9, we're okay. A wizard conference, okay.
Gerald picks up his phone, or picks out his cell phone and does a little bit of a Google to check and see what the number is, and then he calls. He has a short conversation, which you can only hear one side of, and he comes back after a minute or so, and he says,
"It seems like the only 2 rooms that are taken are yours, and he says that he stays there as well, which means that there's 8 open rooms currently at the motel. Fortunately for us, that means that only 1 person will die today."
He says that with all of the confidence of someone who has realized what he's about to do. Perfect. WizCon will be great this year.
I'm going to go ahead and set up the bomb. I'll be back in just a moment. Any places you can think of that I should put mirrors?
Is there time to ask about the mirror property? Sure. You've asked Gerald everything he knows about that. So you're asking Kevin, I would assume, about the mirror thing. I've never seen anything that has that sort of property. I would assume that this is something that we haven't dealt with, that hasn't been studied. I believe that this is something outside of our understanding, but I would assume that it has a physical form, else I wouldn't be going with this plan. It's visible in mirrors because it is visible, but we can't view it directly. That is my best guess on what this thing is. You can hear it. Hug Kevin and Gerald as a free action. Can we cry, please? You can cry as a free action. You decide you're going to go with Gerald to guard him. You give Kevin the notes and you go, here are all these letters. I need you to deliver these just in case if things go wrong or if we need to bounce super hard. Kevin seems to understand how big of a burden this is that you're putting this on him, and doesn't say anything but just nods and takes the letters and holds them tighter than you would have expected. You brace yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually for what you're about to do. You hug Kevin again, you cry a bit and dab, and then you give Kevin your friendship bracelet and you go, I really enjoyed my time with you, and I think you're a really cool dude, and you're pretty poggers and stuff. And I just wanted you to have this. Everyone kind of
stops at that for a minute. I actually made one for him, so maybe you can take the one I made for him. I thought it was, we've been through a lot, so why don't you take this one?
You attempt to put the friendship bracelet on Kevin. Everyone's having a hard time of it. Everyone just decides to be like dudes about it, and they just sort of leave without saying anything else. You guys head on out the door and head towards the motel. You head on over to the motel. So far, nothing has alerted you to the fact that anything is wrong. You go ahead and drop off the, or you go ahead and start heading towards the motel itself. You go inside your room. There's still a ludicrous amount of money in here. You see that Gerald has made a significant amount of effort to go ahead and set up the bomb, get things all together, and make sure that everything is legit. You continue to mirror. The only blood that you see is the blood that you already know about, but you are keeping an eagle eye to the whole situation. You're making sure that you don't see anything. Take some of the money? Sure. We'll just say you take like couple $1,000. You have so much money that, I mean, you guys want to take the money? Like, what do you guys want to do with it? There seem to be arguments on whether or not to take it or leave it, so I'm going to go ahead and let that happen. But you'll go ahead and get your shit together while Kevin gets things. You continue to check for anything. You don't see anything. Your heart is pounding out of your chest just because the thought of that thing being here and the idea that at this point, if something did happen to you guys, there would be absolutely nothing to stop you from being attacked. Like, there's no Home Depot God to save you this time. Unless if he decides to, which, who knows at this point. All right, take money, leave money, take any clothes you had left. Don't take its evidence. Okay, leave it to burn. Everyone seems in agreement that you guys are leaving the money. Gerald turns to you and says,
okay, I think it's ready. We need to get out of here. I'm going to cast a spell when we get across the street. I've got it all set up. It shouldn't go off while we're here, but we need to hurry.
You continue to mirror check as you leave the motel, running across the street to the Ford dealership, which is as close as you think, or as close as you can be without there being any threat of possible explosions or stuff hurting you. You should be able to see exactly what's going to go on from there. Gerald does his thing. He casts his spell, and you still remember Chris. You still remember Chris for now. Just at about this time, you see Jonathan Briscoe start to, like, come towards you guys because it looks like you guys are about to buy a car or something. And then, all of a sudden, top story for the night. Top story for the night. Suspected terrorist escapes from prison. A week ago, a couple of individuals were arrested in the bombing and possible killing of a motel owner. It is not clear on exactly why they did this. The pair was arrested last week after they were apprehended after allegedly bombing a motel and killing the owner. The local police chief is being questioned by the FBI as the security footage of the cell appears to have been altered. The only lead to their disappearance is the phrase, "Home Depot is a girl's best friend," written in blood on the cell wall. The reason for the bombing still hasn't been discovered. We reached out to the families for comments and received this response. "I know you didn't do this, no. You just aren't that kind of person. Just turn yourself in." This is from one of the bombers' sister, Elise Ware. The FBI is currently investigating whether or not they are being harbored there. The suspects are currently considered armed and dangerous. The FBI asks that if you have any information to call their tip line at hopefully that was a satisfactory ending, because I believe that's where we're going to live it for the night. I just want to say real quick, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the ride you had. It was a labor of love for me. It was a lot of work, and hopefully you liked it. If you liked it, there's another series that's coming out that I'm making called The March of the Mice. I'll link it at the end here, and I'm also going to link the Q&A that I did at the end of this video as well. Big shout out to OrthogonalCaster. Thank you so much for the edits. Thank you for doing this for me. He's also doing the edits for the March of the Mice, so if you want to see that, it'll be uploaded here on this channel as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Despite everything, you're still cute, and I am nowhere. Don't forget me.